Good morning, students. Today we are going to see about the economics lesson number 4, government and taxes. Now, you might have heard about people telling we pay income tax, water tax, land tax and so on. Why this tax is collected by the government? It's a very important revenue collection done by the government in order to maintain the welfare of the people, both in the state level and in the union level. From earlier days, government has collected taxes from the people, and from the money collected, the government takes care of the welfare of the people. Now, what is this welfare of the people? For example, constructing roads or maintaining them, water supply, a drainage system and so on. So, from the money collected from the people, government build roads, regulates the water supply, drainage system and so on. So, the government takes care of all the basic necessities of the people. So, taxes are very important in regulating the revenue or collecting a regular income for the government. So, today's lesson we are going to see about the role of the government and its policies, the different taxes and its types, how tax is levied, what are the different methods. It is not the same for the haves and the have-nots. What is that haves and the have-nots? That is people earning and the poor people. Then you are going to understand, or you are going to get an insight about black money and how people evade paying tax, that is they don't pay tax, how they hoard money. And you are also going to understand the difference between paying tax and the other payments. It is different. Okay, then about the tax development in India. So, first we are going to focus about the introduction of the lesson. So, taxes levied by the government to regulate all the activities of the entire state, otherwise entire nation. So, in both the levels we have taxes levied, and the revenue of the government depends upon two types of taxes, that is direct tax and indirect tax. As we move on further, we will understand what is direct tax and what is indirect tax, and there are different types with some examples. So, direct taxes are, that is paid by the people who are earning, it is paid by an individual. Indirect taxes are levied on the goods and services. So, this direct tax by the person, this is for the goods and services people get. So, we are going to focus upon the different types of taxes people pay. So, with the payment of the direct and the indirect taxes, the financial system of the government is maintained. It's a very important one. So, with the payment of taxes only the government gets money, and with that money they try to do some facilities for the people. So, what is the role of government and what are the policies? So, we have the different roles: defense, foreign policy, conduction of periodic elections, law and order, public administration and public goods, distribution of income, that is people who are below the poverty line, how to distribute the income, and poverty alleviation, a very important one, because in India we have so many people who are below the poverty line, how to bring them out of that poverty. So the government takes various measures, and we are also going to see about the regulate of the economy of India. So the first one is defense. Now you know in India we have three defense forces, that is the naval, that is in the ships, then on land we have the arms and ammunitions, then in the air force. So we have three types of defense forces. So it is the work of the government to maintain all the three defense forces. Why this defense force is very important? In order to maintain the security of the people. Now India is a vast country and it has its neighboring countries. We share the border. So there are some border conflicts. So the government makes sure that the people are safeguarded from the enemy attack, otherwise foreign invasion. So the government, the main role of the government is to defend the people from the foreign countries in some emergencies. So the union government is responsible, that is the central government is responsible for defending the country, to maintain the defense forces. That is the role of the central government. The next one is the foreign policy. Now in today's world we can see the different countries, they always have some conflicts, some border problems and all that. So we have to maintain a friendly relationship with the other countries. So it is the duty of the government to maintain the foreign policy between or among the other neighboring countries. It may be all the different countries and neighboring ones also. So we have to maintain a cordial relationship. How to do that? By carrying out foreign trade. Yes, the most important one. Once we start trading with the other countries, we maintain a cordial relationship. So exports and imports, buying goods from foreign countries, selling goods to the foreign countries, and once again investing. So investment, then labor. So these are the three important components in a foreign policy: export and imports, investment, that is allowing foreign countries to invest in our country, that is to start, for example, to start a company in India, a foreign based company that should be started in India. Then allowing labor, sending our people to work abroad, otherwise allowing other people to work in our country as well. So these are the three important components of the foreign policy. So this service is also provided by the union government. Conduction of periodic elections. Now in India, once in 5 years elections are conducted. So that is decided by the central government. In case of emergencies, we have by-elections or interim polls. So we elect our representatives both for the parliament and for the state assemblies. So, and we have the local body election as well. So for all these elections, the central government conducts the periodic elections to elect their representatives. A most important one is to maintain law and order in the country. Now, both in the central, here we have enumerated so many laws by the constitution that should be followed by the citizens. That is to protect our rights, regulate the property, and to maintain our own rights. So for all this, laws are enacted. To settle the disputes between the union government, we have a very vibrant judicial system. So we have the Supreme Court in the central level, and in each and every state we have a high court. So laws are created, and it is the duty of each and every citizens to maintain the law and order. And apart from that, how to maintain law and order? So we have a very efficient police system. We have very efficient police system who are responsible to maintain law and order in the country. So throughout the state, the union government makes sure that people follow the laws enacted by the government. So we have a judicial system. Apart from that, we have an efficient police system to maintain the law and order in the country. The next topic is public administration and public goods. Usually the government efficiently distributes all the management by the public administration. How do they do that? To various departments. For example, we have revenue department, rural development, for education and schools we have. So we have different departments to do all the public administration. The local governments provide public goods like roads, drainage, drinking water, collection of waste and its disposal. So all this comes under public administration and public goods. Redistribution of income. Now, as I have told you earlier, people who are rich are asked to pay taxes, whereas people who are poor, they are not levied by taxes by the government. So the taxes are collected in such a way that people who earn high pay a lot, whereas poor people don't pay tax at all. So it is so based on the income of a person, the government levies tax. The government also spend money that is collected by the government as a tax, and they distribute that equally to the poor people in order to elevate the people from poverty. To make them come out of poverty, the government does that. How do they do that? The government provides basic necessities like food, shelter and clothing for the poor people. So whatever money that is collected from the rich people, the government makes use of that to distribute that money to the poor people in order to make them come out of poverty. So that is the redistribution of income to elevate the people from poverty. The next one is regulating the economy. So in India, we have the Reserve Bank of India, which regulates the money that is got by the government. So what is the main aim of the RBI? How do they do that? They control the money supply. It's a very important role the Reserve Bank of India plays in India. So controlling money supply and controlling the interest rate. Mostly the poor people are not asked to pay interest for the loan amount that is that they get from the banks. So the main objective is to remove the inflation. Remove the inflation. What is inflation? Inflation means price rise. Sometimes there is a lot of price rise in the goods and commodities that is sold in the market. So in order to remove that price rise, regulation of the economy is done. So the union government does that by various measures such as Security Exchange Board of India and the Competition Commission of India. Both these important administrative bodies regulate the economy of India. Apart from that, all the governments in India run public and sector enterprises to provide all the goods that is needed for the poor people, so that the goods sometimes it is sold at a high price. Poor people are not able to afford to buy that. So, goods are sold at a low price in the ration shops. Otherwise, it is called as public distribution system, called as PDS. Very important work done by the government. So, in the ration shops, goods are sold at a low price so that the poor people can also be able to afford to buy them. So, these are the important roles and the government policies. So, we have the defense forces, the foreign policy, conducting of periodic elections. So, to conduct these elections, the government needs money. How that is got? From the tax paid by the people. Then to maintain law and order, we have a very efficient judicial system and a police system. Then the public administration and how the goods are distributed. Now, redistributing of the income that is got, how to make the poor people come out of the poverty line, and how the RBI regulates the economy of a nation, and how the government has the public distribution system through which the poor people are provided with goods that they need. Next, we move on to the introduction of tax. What is tax? The origin of the word tax is from taxation. From the word taxation, the word tax originated. That means estimate. Taxation means estimate. So, how people are asked to pay tax? Based on the estimation of their income, they are asked to pay the tax. So much, 10% or 15% or so on, like that. So, the government imposes or levies taxes on the people. It may be an individual, otherwise it may be what to tell, an entire system or administration. So, the tax may be paid by a single person, otherwise it may be a corporate system. So, both these ways taxes are levied on the people. The main purpose of taxation, why government collects tax? In order to accumulate funds. So, government keeps on collecting tax, water tax, wealth tax, land tax. So, money gets accumulated. So, the government has lot of money. With that money, they spend that for the people. So, the main important work is for the functioning of the government. All the money that is collected as a form, in the tax form, is for the functioning of the government. A very important one. So, the government treasury plays a very important role to maintain the economy of the country. So, this tax has come into forefront, and that tax spending of the tax is called as a welfare state. Already I told you, to maintain the welfare of the people. So, that spending the tax money is called as a welfare, another name is called as the welfare state. And this paying of taxes is compulsory. Compulsory for whom? For the people who are getting a regular income, monthly income or a weekly wages or whatever. So, mostly it is the people who earn a regular income, not the poor people. So, Professor Seligman also defined tax as a compulsory distribution from a person to the government. So, the person compulsorily had to pay the tax to the government. It may be most of the time it is yearly in India or once in 6 months. Why taxes? Why we should pay the taxes? So, when you see in history throughout, people have paid tax in one form or the other. In those days, it was land tax. farmers or landlords used to have lands. So, based on the produce of they get from the land, 1/3 or 1/4 was collected by the government in the form of tax. So, in order to carry out the various functions, taxes are collected. For example, to maintain the economic infrastructure. What is that infrastructure? Infrastructure is to conduct the various buildings. For example, education, healthcare system, to maintain the government transport system, military, scientific research, public works, public insurance, mainly for the operation of the government itself. The tax is very important. That is why taxes are levied. Sometimes when the expenses exceed the tax revenue, the government accumulates debt. So, the government has to borrow money from the World Bank or from other countries and so on. That is, the central government borrows money. So, a portion of the tax that is got from the people is repaid. That is repaying of the money got from the other countries, that is for the past debts they have got. So, last year, for example, last year our government has got so much of money borrowed from the World Bank. So, this year when the tax is collected from the people, a part of the money is repaid for the past debts. Okay. So, government also uses all the tax money for the welfare fund and the public services. Now, what are these public services? Education system, public transportation, unemployment benefits, and also providing pensions for the elderly people who are not able to work. Apart from that, energy, water, waste management are also the public utilities. So, taxes are levied for all these purposes. Next, we are going to see about the tax system. So, it is the direct tax and the indirect tax. What is the direct tax? So, this direct tax is imposed on a person, otherwise an individual. So, it is a compulsory one. No one cannot pay for a person. A person earns so much of money for a year, he has to pay some amount as a tax to the government. So, this burden of the direct tax cannot be shifted to others. Can you understand? That's okay. The person earns so much of money, so he has to pay every year a certain amount as a tax. So, it cannot be shifted to someone else. So, it is demanded for the each and every person who desire, who should pay it. It is maintained by the government. So, all the people who earn monthly salary, government jobs, it may be otherwise private employees, have to pay tax once in a year to the government. So, some of the direct taxes are income tax, corporate tax and wealth tax. Income tax now, what is this income tax? It's the most common one and an important one levied by each and every person, otherwise by an individual by the government of India. So, it is charged directly based on the income a person gets. It varies depending on the level of income, the tax also varies. A person earns 1 lakh per month, the tax will be more. If a person earns 10,000, the tax will be less. So, based on the income an individual earns, the income tax is levied by the government. So, it varies according to the income. The next one is corporate tax. Now, what is this corporate? It is companies that exist as separate entities. Apart from that, shareholders also come under this corporate tax. So, interest gain, charging on royalties, capital assets located in India. So, it may be the technical services, it may be the dividends also. So, all these come under corporate tax. Now, foreign companies are taxed on income that arises in India. For example, for Indian companies, the tax payment is less, whereas for the foreign companies who invest in India, the tax is more. For example, less than 50 crore, for the Indian companies it is only 25%, whereas for the foreign companies it is nearly some 40%. So, there is a lot of difference. 25% for the Indian companies, and for the foreign countries investments who are investing in India, it is 40%. So, there is a lot of difference. So, that is also the corporate tax that is levied by the government. Wealth tax. Now, people have lands, houses, farms, etc. So, it is the property ownership based on the wealth a person has, they have to pay the tax once in a year, and it will be calculated for the current market value. What is this current market value? Every year the value of the land changes. Today it may be less, tomorrow it may be more, or next year it may be more. So, based on the current value of the land or the assets or the houses or number of houses or properties a person has, the tax is levied. That is called as wealth tax. So, wealth tax also is levied on an individual, otherwise companies, otherwise corporates. In India, the income tax was introduced in the year 1860. 1860. So, from then on people started paying the tax regularly. And this tax money was used by the government whenever they incurred some losses. For example, in 1857 we had the mutiny, Great Mutiny of 1857. So, the government of India faced losses. So, in order to meet out that loss, these taxes were collected and that money was used by the government. And in India, the taxes are collected by 3 tiers of government. So, we have the central government, we have the state government, then we have the local government. So, it is a 3-tier system. We call it as 3-tier system. In all the 3 levels, taxes are levied. In India, we collect more tax revenue through the indirect tax than the direct tax. The major indirect taxes in India are custom duty and GST. So, we have the custom duty and the GST. So, more money is got from these 2 taxes. So, the indirect tax are categorized into stamp duty, entertainment duty, excise duty and GST. Now, what is this indirect tax? Indirect tax, here the burden of paying the tax can be shifted to the others. That is why it is called as indirect tax. So, in the case of indirect tax, taxpayer is not the tax bearer. So, some of the examples I have given already. So, stamp duty is a tax that is paid on official documents. Now, what are these official documents? For example, a person buys a piece of land or a house or whatever. So, that is the document registration. In order to maintain the official documents, that person has to pay some money as stamp duty. Sometimes there are contractual agreements between people. For that also, the stamp duty is levied on an individual. Entertainment tax is a duty that is charged by the government on any source of entertainment. In India, we have charges levied on movie tickets, amusement parks, exhibition and sports event. For example, cricket match, we buy tickets to view the cricket match, So there also the tax is levied, that is indirect tax. Excise duty. So any duty on manufactured goods, for example, electronic goods that are brought from foreign countries, a person has to pay an excise duty to the government in order to bring that to India. That is called as customs duty, otherwise excise duty. Based on the number of equipments or the amount of goods they buy from the foreign countries, based on that they are asked to pay the custom tax or duty. So the government gets a lot of income from the excise duty, otherwise customs, we can tell it as customs. Mainly it is the sales tax only. So when we buy some goods from foreign countries, we are supposed to pay some money to the government. The next important one is the GST, that is Goods and Services Tax, is one of the most important indirect tax levied on the people by the government of India. This was passed in the year 2017. So from the year 2017, from the month of May, people are asked to pay the tax. So it came to effect on July 1st, 2017. Now what is the purpose of this GST? The motto is one nation, one market and one tax. So throughout India, people are asked to pay GST. For example, a person goes to a hotel and buys food. Even for that, he has to pay some amount of GST. So if I buy something and eat for rupees 200, I have to pay a tax at least 20 or 30 rupees as tax. That is called as GST. For all the goods and services a citizen makes use of, we are asked to pay the GST. Now in GST, we have different types, that is intrastate, that is within the state. So we have entertainment tax, luxury tax, amusement parks, themes and all that, lottery tax and all that. Then we have within the state, we have education, secondary higher cess, service tax, and for buying all the foreign goods. Then we have the integrated goods and service tax, that is called as IGST, integrated goods and services tax. So almost all the necessities are exempted from this tax, that is IGST. So this is the structure of GST. So we have intra-state, that is within the state, GST we have to pay. Then we have the integrated goods and service tax. Now France was the first country to implement GST in the year 1954. So in the year 1954, France introduced GST, and in India it was implemented in the year 2017. So the next topic we are going to focus on is how are taxes levied. What do you mean by levied? How the taxes are imposed on the people. So we have the different taxes: progressive tax, proportionate tax and a regressive tax. Now what is progressive tax? Progressive tax is one in which the taxation rate of taxation increases with the amount of income earned by a person. So if the income increases, the tax also increases. For example, a person earns 10,000 this year, the taxation rate will be 10%. Next year if a person earns 20,000, the taxation may increase by 20%. The next one is proportionate tax. Proportionate tax is levied on all the goods and services in a fixed proportion. So all the taxpayers contribute the same proportion based on their income. So person earning 10,000, 10%, that is the amount of tax they should pay is 1,000. Person earning 20,000 will pay the amount as 2,000. So for all of them the tax rate is 10% only. The regressive tax implies that higher the rate of the tax, lower the income groups in the case of the higher income groups. So, it is the very opposite of the progressive. Regressive is the opposite of progressive tax. For example, the income increases, the income change also is there for the tax. If it is less, the tax will also be less. Next we are going to see about black money and what are the causes of black money. Some people do not show the account every year and that money they use it separately for their own purpose. That is called as black money. So, the income, that is the black market on which the income and other taxes have not been paid. So, when a person does not pay the yearly income properly, sometimes he does not show the proper account of what he gets per year, that money is called as black money. So, the unaccounted money that is concealed from the tax administrator is called as black money. Now, what are the causes of black money? Shortage of goods, license proceedings, contribution of industrial sector, smuggling and the tax structure. Now, some people evade paying taxes. Suppose if a person does not pay the tax every year, what are the penalties given to them? So, the first one, the tax evasion activities include under-reporting income. Some people do not show the proper income they get per year. Then inflating deductions, hiding the money, hiding interest in offshore accounts. Sometimes a person will have investments in foreign countries that is not showed by him as an account to the government. Suppose if a person does not pay the tax or evading taxes, what are the penalties? So, if a person willfully evades tax, as a tax evasion, he has to be charged by the government. So, imprisonment up to 5 years and high amount of taxes as fine should be paid by an individual. Sometimes the defendant may also be ordered to pay the cost of prosecution. Tax evasion penalties can be very harsh depending on the crime a person does. Whether he is doing something against the nation or he is just simply hoarding money, does not show proper account of the money he gets. Now, there are different taxes and what are the development economies? They are as follows: resource mobilization, reduction in inequalities, social welfare, foreign exchange, regional development, control of inflation. So, we will focus on one by one. Resource mobilization, the government makes the people pay a certain amount of money as a revenue. So, how do they do that? By imposing direct tax, that is personal tax and corporate tax. Otherwise, by asking them to pay indirect tax such as custom duty and excise duty. So, the direct taxes are progressive in nature. So, certain indirect tax such as luxury tax is also progressive in nature. So, this is how they reduce the inequalities of the income. Taxation generates social welfare. So, because of higher taxes on certain undesirable products like alcohols, the social welfare, that is to get money for the government, they ask the people to pay taxes for the alcohol products. Foreign exchange, taxation encourages exports and restricts imports. So, people can export all the goods from India, but they should try to avoid imports. So, whenever people import from foreign countries, they are asked to pay some duty, excise duty to the government. That is the customs duty. The next one is the regional development. Taxation plays a very important role in the regional development of a country. So, tax incentives such as tax holidays For setting up industries in backward regions, the tax money is used. Taxation can be used to control the inflation, that is the price rise. So, through taxation, the government can control the price rise. How? By reducing the tax on certain commodities. Always the government cannot be imposing taxes for all the commodities. So, if they reduce the taxes for certain commodities, the price rise will be reduced. Now, next we shall see about the differences between tax and the other payments. Now, tax is a compulsory payment to the government without getting any direct benefits. Yes, if the element of the revenue for general purpose of the state predominates, the levying becomes as a tax. So, already I told you tax is compulsory. So, a person has to pay it, otherwise he will be penalized. Taxpayer does not expect any direct benefit, for example, wealth tax, income tax. So, that is the important points under tax. Now, what are the other payments now? Suppose if a person buys any goods, that is called, he has to pay the money, that is called as payment, otherwise it is called as fee. So, for example, the primary purpose of the fee payment is a special benefit to regulate the people in the public interest. Fee is a voluntary payment. I buy a good, I pay money, so it is a voluntary good. On the other hand, fee is not paid if the person do not want to get the service. So, if I do not want to buy a good, I am not going to do any payment. So, that is the difference between tax and the payment. Fee payer can get direct benefit. For example, I pay money to get a driving license, so that is for my benefit. So, can you understand the differences between the tax and the other payments? Tax is compulsory payment that we have to do to the government every year, whereas payments, only if we buy goods, only if we need to buy a good, we have to pay the payment. So, with that we come to end of the lesson. So, today's lesson we saw about the different policies of the government, that is union government and the state government, the different types of taxes, why the taxes are levied on the people, what is black money, and what are the penalties given to the people if they have this black money, what are the different taxes and the development. Suppose if a person does not pay, evades the tax, what are the penalties given to the people, and what are the differences between taxes and payments. So, with that we come to the end of this lesson.